Hey everyone, it's Paul McElraith. I hope you're having a wonderful week. And as I've been pondering and just going through my sermon for this week, I've been thinking a little bit about the family I was raised in and the church that I was raised at. It was a little church called Stanley Park Baptist Church in Kitchener. And I went through all the Sunday school classes at Stanley Park Baptist, but I remember one class in particular. I was in grade 5, and our teacher was a lady by the name of Mrs. Martin. Now, it was a rambunctious group of grade 5 boys for sure, and we used to meet every Sunday morning in the furnace room. And I can tell you there was a lot in that room that caught our attention and took our attention away from Mrs. Martin, but she persevered. It was in that class, in that year when I was in grade 5, when I really caught the concept of the Trinity, who Jesus was. And it was in that year where I was really convicted that I should take the next step in my faith and be baptized. Mrs. Martin was the one that introduced me to Jesus in a deeper and in a whole new way. Now, no one would have predicted that I would go on to be a pastor. I mean, most people were just praying that I'd finish high school. But I lost track of Mrs. Martin over the time, but eventually I became a pastor. And here's the interesting thing. For the last 5 years that I was a pastor at a church in Waterloo, Mrs. Martin sat in my congregation every week. And I was able to thank her both privately and publicly for the way that she had introduced me to Jesus. See, Mrs. Martin is a part of my spiritual legacy. But not just that. She's part of my children's spiritual legacy. She's part of my grandchildren's spiritual legacy. And the fact is, she's part of North Park Church's spiritual legacy. See, if my kids, my grandkids, or even you have learned anything from me about faith, it can be traced back to not just my parents, but that faithful Sunday school teacher named Mrs. Martin. She was a spiritual connector. She introduced and connected me to Jesus. Do you know people like this? Who was it that introduced you to Jesus for the first time? This Sunday, as we continue in our message series, Influencers, Time to Tell Stories of Faith, we're going to look at one of those significant connectors, one of those people that was a social networker even before Facebook was a thing. We're going to look at a man by the name of Andrew. So I want to invite you to join us this Sunday as we continue in that series. Have a great weekend.